Well, that is right. I'm back at it. I've come down out of the mountains, out of that primeval forest that I was in earlier, in order to speak directly with you right here, out of the standard traditional office space that we've created here for doing our show, doing the show that I do. Um, I don't know what happened. Doesn't really matter. Let's get right back to it. So the idea was I wanted to talk with you about some of the things that we can bring with us when we go camping. I know lots of folks are planning camping and going on camping trips right now. It is one of the things that we still can do and align with social distancing and make sure that we are able to get out and enjoy ourselves near others, but in the safest environment possible. So, camping. I know we're planning some camping, and I'm pretty excited. And I'll be honest with you, I don't bring a scale with me when I go camping. So, kind of talking a little bit about some workarounds for that today. So, what are we going to specifically look at? Well, first thing is I just want to talk really quickly about, and I know that folks have seen this before, right? That this is the Dancing Goats decaf version of the steeped product, and so I'll just really quick show you here. It opens up super easy. We have our steeped sachet, and it can go into your mug like that. Just a little bit of agitation, right? And then let it sit for 5 minutes. So really, honestly, as far as like ease of use for getting the best cup of coffee possible, right? With the simplest interaction that you can take anywhere, then that would be the way to go. Hey, Joseph, good to see you. Coffee Lovers Magazine is in the house. Yeah, right. So the great thing about this steep product is that when you are done, the sachet, the string, the paper label, all of it is, of course, compostable. And so it can go right into your compost bin. Leave no trace. So, but let's say you want to do something a little more traditional. So you might have seen me talk about it earlier. I'll just go over it again really quick. I do want to show you one of the items that we have is our lovely Planetary Design all steel double-walled French press. So why is it important to Extracted? Joseph Robertson reminds me you're right, Extracted magazine. I knew it as Coffee Lovers back in the day. um, so double-walled, great, right? And that retains heat, but more importantly, the steel construction, because why? You can throw it around, not a problem, right? It's really sturdy. The components are all sturdy, and it's not going to break in the back of your car, right? So it's a really great product, and what's even better about it, not just its construction, not just the fact that it operates just as any regular French press does, it does have this additional element to it. If you look at the screen, you see your standard screen on the bottom of the plunger there, but if you spin it around, you'll see it has little like kind of flanges. This is a separate plate that sits, you can't really quite tell, that sits above the screen, right? So the coffee goes up through there, and then it can then move between, the liquid presses between these spaces here. But what it does when you've plunged it is it actually acts as a barrier to really completely slow down any additional extraction for that coffee slurry, right? And that's one of the elements that has often been a question when you have a nice steel French press that you are using to hold coffee hot, more than one cup, right? Is that what's going to happen with that slurry that's at the bottom? It continues to sit in the water, in the extraction. Well, this is a way to kind of put a break in there. So a great little item here, and I do want to do one more thing for you. I want to shoot over to our website, and you can see when you go on to look at that French press, if you're interested in it for your camping, it does come with these gorgeous little cups, right? Which I'll shoot back over here so you can see up close. Here's our dancing goat on there. He's camping. Isn't that adorable? It's pretty adorable. These are fun, right? 2 of these, boom, come with it. And it's a great camp setup. So that's for if you are looking to do just your kind of standard coffee operation that you're really used to using a French press. That is fantastic. And I would definitely recommend you go over and check those out. Now, there's another thing. I've said already that I'm not going to be bringing my scale, right? Camping goats for the win. Don't sleep on that set. It is awesome. That is right. That's what is said over our over the stream right now. Don't sleep on it because we only have so many, right? They're branded materials, and I don't know if we're going to be carrying them through the entire summer. So I've already said I'm not going to bring a scale. But what does that mean? Well, it means I doesn't mean I'm completely going to give up on being able to control the amount of coffee to water ratio that I'm using. But what I am going to do is I'm going to be using a grinder here, which when you take a closer look at it here, when you, oops, wrong one. When you take a look at the grinder, I did a up close on these a while back. You can go back and check it out in the archive. This little Hario grinder, which we also feature on our website, is fantastic because what it allows you to do is it's really kind of oriented towards the 1 cup. 1 cup. It says there's 2 on here, but really, you're making 1 cup for yourself. It's oriented towards single cup pour over kind of expressions, and where it does not rely on you necessarily having your coffee weighed, right? But we do want to control for that, right? So what are the things you can do? If you're like me in the past, I've pre-weighed out my whole bean and my ground coffee to bring with me when I go camping. Or if I'm going to be in a situation where I'm not going to have a scale, I can just pre-weigh it. In this case, though, one of the things we get to do is we actually can use the tool itself in order to take care of that for us. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to use a new pour over method that I have not actually ever used before. And I'm going to highlight what we're going to do with the scale here. I'm going to use a tool that's made by our friends at Meir. Now, if you've, I'll pop over to the monitor here and show you where our scale is. You can see our Hario mini mill is on the website, but you'll also, if you want to pop in here, and we'll put a link in for you as well, we'll go over to our cups and mugs, and I'll show you these here. These are the camper mugs that I would definitely recommend for you to get with you. We have some that are ATL, some that are Oli. Soon we'll have one that's Tacoma. I have one of the first models right before we were just testing out size and hand feel. So this is the same Meir cup without the branding on it. One of the things that Meir also makes is this little pour over tool, which is really an on-the-go pour over tool. Now, we don't carry this in our on our website, but we're looking at it, and we know that maybe it might be something that goes well along with the mugs, which have done so well and which are such a great product. So let's try it out, shall we? We'll kind of do it together, and we'll see how it works. Now, the reason I'm focusing so much on telling you I have never done it before is because I in fact have never done it before, which means we might run into some hiccups. So first and foremost, check it out here. So it comes packed in this little case here, right? It slides right in there, and it's these 3 components. Let's take a look at them. All right, that is the pour over brewer. Fascinating, right? Pretty lightweight. So we, started with the very easiest camping tool would be, of course, a steeped product, right? But if you want to have freshly ground coffee using a pour over method, then you're going to need to do something that is pretty portable, and this would be a good option. And I'll see if we can get a link in there to them directly until such time as if we choose to have something like this available. And if French press is not an option, too big, too bulky, if you're doing some like backpacking camping, then something like this would work because look at that, it packs flat. Now, herein lies the part where you get to laugh at me. I've assembled this a couple times, but each time I I kind of forget in between, right? So they're all the three frame components, right? Right. So they assemble like this, right? Do I have that right? I don't know that I do. Let's see here. No, I do not. See, I know it. I gotta find. Oh, there it is. That's the outside. Okay, so the outside's there. There we are. I still don't think I have it right. Yeah, no. No, not yet. I'm getting there. I can feel it. Oh, Russert. Should have figured this out before you went on live to do it. There we are. That's the way. There it is. Okay. Do. And this goes like that. All right. There. That easy. Look at this little origami piece that it makes, right? So, take a look at that. So, what a clever little design that is. All right. Now we're going to put it on top of our mirror cup before we do the pour over, and we're going to use. They provide filters, but the standard V60 will work for these. Right. We'll go ahead and put that down in there. Now, here's what I want to. I want to focus a little bit on our ratios, right? So we know that we don't have a scale, so we're not going to weigh our water, but we know how much water we want to have, right? We want to have a cup's worth of water for 1 cup of coffee. I have my hot water. I've just taken it off my camp stove, which is what I had prepared to do outside. That's about how much coffee I want. I'm going to add a little bit more than I would normally want. Because of absorption. So that's about a cup's worth of coffee there. And then we'll just do a real quick transfer, right? We're going to transfer into, in this case, I have this lovely Stanley pitcher here, which will hold it hot for a moment. So now I've done 2 things. I've measured out the amount of water I want to use and added a little bit more for absorption. I've also pre-warmed my cup a little bit. I'm going to pre-warm it again, of course, by pre-soaking the filter a little bit. Right. And this is a situation where I'm just looking at this now. I think I'm not going to be too afraid to get right in there and push that up against the walls. All right. And this is actually pretty stable. It picks right up when you want to pick it up. Not a problem. Okay, now, so we know the amount of water we have. Now, usually if we'd weighed our coffee and put it into a bag for grinding, that would be fine. But we're not going to do that here because luckily, on the side of this little unit here, we have a little marker. Take some of our Skies blend right up to that first little marker there, right? And the funny thing is I did do the actual math on this on a 1:16 ratio, and pretty close. Now, volumetrics are always going to be a little bit wonky because coffee beans, different types, different varieties, different regions and origins, or different sizes, and different roast profiles cause beans to be different sizes as well. So now we have our coffee, which we've measured out, which is now in a proportion which is set for 1 cup of coffee. We're going to put it back into the top of our mill here. We screw that on. Now I'm just going to show you something here. I have this pretty much set where I want it to be, but here's a great thing about this mill. So we put it on and we begin grinding, right? Okay. Now if, for example, you didn't like how coarse that grinding was, you can take this right off without disturbing the coffee at all. You put your finger on top of this here, and the adjustment screw is right there. So you can actually take a look at your first few grounds. Say, oh, I want a little bit finer, or I want a little bit coarser, and you can adjust that right off the bat. But I'm fine there. I'm going to do that. So here's something I also can't show you, but the shape of this goes between your knees, right? right? It also fits nice in your hand, right? Do. So I'll be talking here. Oh, hey, Joseph, that's great. No, so by all means, we want people to be discussing what works for them. He says that his favorite backpacking choice is the Espresso Ultralight press. I'm gonna go look it up right after this and think about it. I also didn't mention AeroPress, right? I mentioned that earlier today, but I said, as part of the discussing it, I wasn't going to talk too much about it because I'm not the AeroPress champ at Batdorf and Bronson. I'm, I'm just a guy, All right, so there we are, and we're done. So there is our coffee, and then to simply unscrew it, and here we have freshly ground coffee at your campsite, ready to do a nice little pour over. Okay, so we measured out our water volumetrically, we measured out our coffee volumetrically, and they're going to be pretty close to what we would like them to be. We'll go ahead and put that right in there. Right. Here's where we give it a little shake. All right. Now, here is the tricky part. And Ben's showed you this before, and I'm going to practice it now. So I don't have a kettle. You can, of course, get yourself a little kettle for heating up on your stove, which is a gooseneck kettle. They have camping gooseneck kettles for sure. But you can also do this. I have a nice vessel here which is insulated and it's kept my water warm, and I have a chopstick here which is going to serve two purposes. You'll see, right? And so the first thing I do is I'm going to go ahead and just hold it like this, and we're going to use this to be as a directional finder for the water as it pours out. So let's see if we, and remember, this is the amount of water I'm using, right? It's all in here. So I'm going to pour all the way out. Yep, that's pretty good. I think maybe using two hands might be the best technique. Yep. Let it bloom a little bit. It definitely works as a directional, right? A little bit of pulsing issues there, but okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little agitation here. Pretty gentle, really. Get a little thin little stream going here. Get practice at just getting that stream to go nice and even. Right. Just about at the rate of pour. Right. Slow. And I'm not talking much, I know, because I'm concentrating on getting this to pulse just right. All right. As I get down to the last bit of water here, I'm going to go ahead and fill this thing up to get all the coffee off the walls. Okay, up, 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 up. There we are. Okay, and then, per usual, just do a little swirl right back and forth, and we'll let that coffee kind of finish what it's doing. Hi Tia, good to see you. That is a super cool trick, and that is courtesy of our dear friend Ben Jones. He's talked about that in some hacks before. If you don't have a gooseneck kettle, you can just use a chopstick or a stick even, probably, to capture the surface tension of the water as it leaves your vessel. And then you can still have some directional ability and some pulsing ability as you're pouring water. In this case, from a Stanley, camping insulated cup onto our bed of coffee. So we're going to let that finish pouring through here. Yeah. And as it does that, I'm just going to go to see if we have any questions coming up from just a hello to Tia. We have a note there that someone says that I'm the AeroPress champ in our hearts. Not really. I would never deign to say that. I did say this though about it. I do want to, by all means, go if you're interested in AeroPress, pop on there and make sure to use our 10% coupon, right, which allows you to get 10% off of all your purchases. I mean, if you're on the VIP club, we also have a special VIP coupon that's available right now, but you have to be a member of the club to see the coupon. So go join the Batdorf and Bronson VIP Boosters Club on Facebook. Use that coupon, or use this one here right now. One of the great things about the AeroPress, which we're able to get rid of this here, which we're able to have a little bit of control over with brewing is the fact that it makes a concentrate, right? I mean, in a sense, it makes like it can make a more concentrated expression. You have the ability to work with the different recipes to make a stronger coffee that you can then dilute. So you might look at the AeroPress and think, well, it's just it's only a one-person cup of coffee, but no, you can make coffee for two out of that by using the right recipe, and maybe we can get Ben to send one of those forward for us. Too lazy to do pour-over camping. I totally hear you, right? And that's why I have the steep that I talked about right off the bat, because for sure, right? It's it is super easy to do that. It's super easy to simply have the coffee available to go like almost immediately, right? Let's take a look at this here. So we have a relatively flat bed. Looks like I could have used a little more water. Put this into my compost area. Actually, I'll pull that out so we can take a look at it when we're done. There it is. There is the brewing unit, and here is my cup of coffee. And then, am I enjoying it? You bet I absolutely am. Yes, flatbed challenge. What is a flatbed challenge? Yet again, another thing that you can get an answer to if you join our VIP group. So I expect to see one of those, a link to that coming through. So this is what it comes down to when we're talking about coffee and camping, right? Like any other metric you see us talking about, there are some standards that we're going to try and hold to. We want to have freshly roasted coffee to start with. So please, if you need coffee, go and grab some. And again, we highlighting Sky's Mountain Blend today, named after one Carolyn Sky, who in her 30-year career with Batdorf and Bronson, I think maybe more, she'll correct me, I'm sure, did everything. She did everything in the company. She has done everything in coffee. So she came up with the blend while hiking. So it literally is a hiking blend for coffee. Would recommend you try that if you have never tried it. So please do. So we start with our coffee. That's a given. And then after that, we want to try and grind the coffee as close as possible to when it's going to be used. So we have a tool for that. And then we want to respect some parameters for ratios of coffee when we're brewing. And there are ways to do that even without a scale, even when you have just some flat iron pieces here. And let's see if it's going to be as hard for me to undo it as it is for me to put it together. I guess it's good that it is not entirely easy to come apart, right? Oh, there it is. Yep. Pop that off. 1, 2, 3. And then, if you have a little cloth with you when you're camping, Just wipe those parts off. Yeah, these are. I'm gonna advocate for these to be part of our lineup for next spring and summer for sure. We'll contact our friends over at Mirror and see if we can get something lined up for these. Goes in there, and then where did I put the, oh, yeah, the little tiny pocket carrying case? Just go in there like that. Boom. So that's fun. That was fun to do. Thanks for joining me this afternoon, which is usually when you don't see me. You usually see me in the morning. I had some technical difficulties, but I wanted to get this one in the can so it would be on our YouTube, and so you can reference it again if you're going to be going camping. Some tools for you to use, for you to think about, and just some ways to hold to some of those standards, even though we don't have all the tools we might usually have. So here's to you and your next adventure, and to being able to enjoy coffee when you go there, as we learn to not just turn our homes into cafes, but maybe bring a little bit of that cafe into the great outdoors whenever we choose to go there. Take care.